I hope that doesn't come across like that. That's not my point.
That's how I always take as people who go around and say everybody.
Oh man.
Keeping updated whether you want it or not.
Oh man.
I accidentally pressed my.
That, like I say, that's not my.
I don't see.
It was army.
It was like under here, and I like.
Oh, okay. Very. But he was military.
Okay.
I guess we'll find out.
I know. I'm like nobody's rushing in, so I think we're okay.
Board President Tomorito, it is 5 o'clock.
Yeah, I did. Oh, yeah. Remember Bowman? I have the binders on my desk now. When you open up your diligent, does it always go to January 21st? Okay. Mine always goes to January 21st. So sometimes I'm looking at the, and I'm like,
Trying to get my little sentences in order.
and I'm like, I'm still on the wrong one.
It's so weird.
I'm gonna have to, my Diet Coke and get, I have to, I look at clear my hat right at me.
You wait for me to go for something.
It's like bigger than the car I used to.
Board President Tomorito, it is 5 o'clock. If you're ready,
How big it is.
Yeah. If that, it's like when I first got my, yeah.
are we up?
I was just like whipping in. Yeah. Places, and then I tried to whip in.
Board
and-
President Tomorito, it is 5 o'clock. Are we ready to start the meeting?
Is it like choppy? It's like an echo. It's like a.
Can you hear me?
Water.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
There we are. Sorry, I probably have my microphone turned down. Good evening, board members. Superintendent Duran Blakey. It is 5 o'clock. Board President Tomorito, you ready for me to start the stream?
Still breaking up a little bit.
Okay.
I don't know if it's these speakers. Oh, there. Wait,
Test 1, 2, 3.
it's still doing it.
Okay.
What's that say?
Test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3.
Still got that little
Still a little bit of
pulling edge on it. I don't know what that is.
President Tomorito. I can hear you,
Okay,
so we can go ahead and start.
it is good then. You can do that. All right, everyone, welcome to the Board of Education meeting. I call this meeting to order.
Morito, can we wait just one moment to make sure we're live streaming and recording?
Yes, we can.
We are live streaming and recording.
Okay, now my second call to order. Welcome to the Board of Education meeting. I'm really glad you're all here. I call this meeting to order. So can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Juro fidelidad a la bandera de los Estados Unidos de América y a la república que representa una nación bajo Dios, indivisible, con libertad y justicia para todos. Thank you. I would like to acknowledge our tribal lands, and we gratefully acknowledge our Native peoples on whose homelands we gather, as well as diverse and vibrant Native communities who make their home here today. I will now ask for a moment of silence for those who have given their lives in service to our country. Thank you. Dr. Albright, may I have a roll call, please?
Janelle Astorga,
Here.
Rebecca Benson,
Here.
Joshua Martinez,
Here.
Heather Benavides,
Here.
Warikia Bowman,
Here.
Courtney Jackson,
Here.
Ronaldo Tomorito.
Here. All right, we'll move on to item 2, our agenda adoption. So adoption of June 17, 2026 Board of Education meeting agenda. Can I get a motion in a second?
I move that we approve the adoption of the June 17th, 2026 Board of Education meeting agenda. This is Board Member Benavides.
I second. This is Board Member Martinez.
Board Member Benavides, motion to adopt the June 17th meeting agenda, and Board Member Martinez, seconds. Is there any discussion? All right, we call for a vote.
Stoiga,
Yes.
Rebecca Betson,
Yes.
Joshua Martinez.
Yes.
Benavides.
Yes.
Raikia Bowman,
Yes.
Courtney Jackson.
Yes.
Ronaldo Tomorito.
Yes, the motion carried. And we'll go on to item number 3, our minutes approval from the Board of Education meeting on June 3rd, 2026. Can I get a motion in a second?
Motion to approve the minutes for the Board of Education meeting on June 3rd, 2026.
And I second it. This is Board Member Betson.
Okay, Board Member Martinez, motion to approve the June 3rd minutes, and Board Member Betson gave us a second. Any discussion? We call for a vote.
Board members, can you please be sure to speak into your microphone so that we can hear it on the recording? Thank you. Janella Stoiga,
Yes.
Rebecca Betson.
Yes.
Joshua Martinez.
Yes.
Heather Benavides.
Yes.
Raikia Bowman,
Yes.
Courtney Jackson.
Yes.
Ronaldo Tomorito.
Yes. Thank you, and the motion carries. We'll go ahead and move on to public forum, and I will go ahead and extend this forward to Board Secretary Benavides, and she will share the instructions for public forum.
Thank you, President. We welcome our guests who are joining us for public forum this evening. Thank you for taking the time to participate. When you signed up to speak, you were asked to review the rules and expectations for public forum, which our presiding officer will enforce. Under the New Mexico Open Meetings Act, our meeting agendas must clearly specify the items that will be discussed and voted on. For that reason, public forum is not a dialogue between speakers and board members, but rather an opportunity for the board to hear directly from members of our community. Speakers will be called in order in which they signed up, whether in person or virtually. If you are here with us tonight, please come to the microphone at the back of the room when your name is called. Those joining us online will remain in the virtual waiting room until it is their turn to speak. We have set aside 45 minutes for public forum this evening. If there are 22 or fewer speakers, each person will have 2 minutes to speak. If there are more than 22 speakers, each person will have 1 minute. Tonight, we have 4 speakers. When your time has expired, you will be asked to conclude your remarks so that we can move on to the next speaker. If you feel you were unable to fully share your message, you are welcome to email the board at boarded@aps.edu. In addition, for those of you attending in person this evening, a representative from our service center is available to assist you. At this time, Mr. Gonzalez will introduce the speakers.
Thank you, Board Member Benavides. Our first speaker this evening is Mrs. Janet Sayers, followed by Dr. Sinello.
Good evening, Madam President and Superintendent Blakey and members of the board. So I am here tonight to speak about community engagement. And I just wanted to, again, preface all of this on the basis that each board member would have to have support to develop email list of people that live in your district or who have a concern about programs in the geographical districts that you represent, so that they could be invited to participate. But your colleagues at the city council, they, of which there's 9, they frequently have monthly coffees. It's nothing more than inviting people to come to chit chat with them at either a public space, I mean, ranging from McDonald's to a city building or a restaurant. Some city councilors, they also have what's called a webinar, which is again a 1-hour program where frequently it's a person who's speaking about a particular city topic. whether that's Albuquerque Community Safety or storm drainage, whatever. And it's not meant to be a complaint session, but it's to inform the public, and people they just join in by clicking. Your colleagues at the legislature, of which we have 70 reps and 40 senators, I'm more familiar with the reps. They have something similar. And you can get on their mailing list. Anyway, I'm just suggesting that the evolution of 7 districts where people can go to something close to them, where somebody that lives in the far South Valley is not coming up to city center to have to meet and greet with board member Astorga. So
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Our next speaker is Dr. Sinello, followed by Victoria Stanley. You'll have 2 minutes once you begin speaking.
Good evening, Madam President and members of the school board. I am an alternative health doctor and minister. Do you know what Juneteenth originated from? Lincoln said in his second annual message, December 1st, 1862, and I quote, "In giving freedom to the slave, we assure freedom to the free. We shall nobly save or meanly lose the last best hope of earth. The way is plain, a way which if followed, the world will forever applaud and God must forever bless," end quote. Nearly 500,000 died fighting in the Civil War, which freed 4 million slaves. To celebrate this victory of Republican abolition policy over the Democrat pro-slavery policy is Juneteenth, the day Union Major General Gordon Granger issued General Order No. 3 from his headquarters in Galveston, Texas, June 19, 1865, announcing, and I quote, "The people of Texas are informed that in accordance with a proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free," end quote. Booker T. Washington was 9 years old when the war ended. He remembered, and I quote, there was more singing in the slave quarters than usual. Most of the verses of the plantation song had some reference to freedom. Some man who seemed to be a stranger, a United States officer, I presume, made a little speech and then read a rather long paper. After the reading, we were told that we were all free and could go when and where we pleased. My mother, who was standing by my side, leaned over and kissed her children, while tears of joy ran down her cheeks. She explained to us what it all meant, that this was the day for which she had been so long praying about, but fearing that she would never live to see, end quote. President Franklin D. Roosevelt stated September 17, 1937, I quote, "I'd like to think that it was the will of God that we remain one people," end quote. May God bless APS and New Mexico.
Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is Victoria Stanley. You'll have 2 minutes once you begin speaking.
Good evening. My name is Victoria Stanley. My son is a 4th grade student, and he was the first child to report that a classmate had been touching him in sexually inappropriate ways. The findings report from APS states that 10 students alleged the same behavior, that this student grabbed their crotches and touched their bottoms. The final report states that there was no evidence that inappropriate touching occurred and suggests that the similarities in the students' statements could have resulted from conscious or unconscious collusion. I am here tonight to ask the board to reconsider policies that allow for that conclusion. No child spoke up for months. Then one child, my son, found the courage to tell the truth. After that, other children came forward through appropriate school channels and reported similar experiences. That is not evidence of collusion. It is evidence of what we know often happens when survivors finally feel safe enough to speak. As a social worker, I can tell you that trauma-informed practice tells us that disclosures frequently emerge in patterns. People often remain silent because they are confused, embarrassed, afraid, or unsure whether they will be believed. The fact that multiple children reported similar experiences after one child spoke up should not automatically be viewed with suspicion. It should be recognized as a pattern that demands attention. Sexual harassment and abuse frequently occur without witnesses or physical evidence, and in ways specifically designed to avoid detection. When policies rely on standards that fail to account for this reality, children are left unprotected. Staying quiet does not create systemic or cultural change. Change happens when people are willing to speak publicly about uncomfortable truths and demand better systems. If APS is unwilling to examine and modernize these policies, my advocacy will continue beyond this room. Not because I see conflict, but because I believe every child deserves to be protected by policies grounded in what we know about trauma, disclosure, and sexual harassment. Thank you for this platform, and I hope for your commitment to protecting our children.
Thank you, ma'am. Our next speaker is Mary Herrera. You'll have 2 minutes.
Good evening, Madam Chair, President, and Madam President, and members of the school board and superintendent. In 1916, President Woodrow Wilson designated June 14th as National Flag Day. Quote, "I call your attention to the approach of the anniversary of the day upon which the flag of the United States was adopted by the Congress as the emblem of the Union. I therefore request that throughout the nation, the 14th day of June be observed as Flag Day with special patriotic exercises to give significant expressions to our thoughtful love of America, our comprehension of the great mission of liberty and justice for an America which no man can corrupt, no influence draw away from its ideals, no force divide against itself. Done at the city of Washington in the year of our Lord, 1916, unquote. In 1954, the Knights of Columbus led a campaign to add one nation under God to the pledge, resulting in Congress passing Public Law 396. President Dwight Eisenhower signed it into law on Flag Day, June 14th, 1954. Section 7, the following is designated as the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Such pledge should be rendered by standing with the right hand over the heart. However, civilians will always show full respect to the flag when the pledge is given by merely standing at attention, men removing the headdress. Persons in uniform shall render the military salute. President Eisenhower then stood on the steps of the U.S. Capitol building and recited the revised Pledge of Allegiance for the first time. The words "under God" were taken from Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, November 19, 1863, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. President Tomorito, that completes people signed up for public forum.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and move on to our next item, and that is our presentation of MRI CSI graduation rate applications for 15 charter schools or schools. And our presenters are Dr. Randy Malhorn, Deputy Superintendent, Leadership and Learning, Dr. Melanie Blay, Executive Director of Federal and State Programs, and Dr. Douglas Wine, Senior Director of Charter Schools. Dr. Wine, just take a deep breath. I'm kidding. I know that it's going to go good. It's going to go good. And you guys will stay here for the full presentation. I will not have to reintroduce you for every school that comes up to the table. I just want to say a few words before we begin. Because for the 2 years I've been on this board, and believe it or not, in my researching charter schools, I was really surprised at the role and the responsibility of the board. So in this statement, I just want to clarify that Albuquerque Public Schools Board of Education operates under a strict federal and constitutional mandate regarding our authorized charter schools. This process is of the highest consequence. As the LEA, we are not merely a passive conduit for federal funds, but the entity legally responsible for ensuring those funds are used to provide a constitutionally sufficient education. Now, I want to just cite the federal and legal obligations are rooted in several critical requirements. The first one is mandatory data certification. Under federal and state improvement frameworks, it is the explicit responsibility of the LEA, APS, to certify that all data, strategies, and timelines included in a school's improvement plan are accurate and verifiable. Number two, ESSA, ESEA, and ESSA, ESSA, Title I oversight. Federal law, specifically Title I, Part A, Section 103 of the Every Student Succeeds Act, mandates that LEAs provide target interventions for schools with prospectively low student outcomes or graduation rates. For schools in the MRI status, APS is legally responsible for ongoing monitoring and reporting to ensure the fidelity of implementation throughout the duration of federal plans. Number three, fiduciary responsibility for flow-through funds. This is one area that really opened my eyes. And I know many times within charter schools, the line between public school versus charter schools has always been this crazy feud that has been happening for years. But for an APS charter, they need those funds. And we as APS, the school district, provides those follow-through funds for those charter schools, which include all Title I expenditures and MRI redesign grants. Our obligation includes physical oversight, making sure that every dollar is aligned with graduation alignment for interventions and state and federal regulatory obligations, special education, the IDA compliance, monitoring to ensure that students with disabilities receive the specialized services and accommodations mandated by IDEA. Number four, Martinez-Yazzie mandate. Our federal funding is I can't say that word. How do you say it? Inextricable tied to Martinez-Yazzie ruling, which identifies English learners, Native American students, students with disabilities, and economically disadvantaged students as the protected subgroups. We are legally and morally grounded in the requirement to show demonstrable, measurable progress for these groups. And then lastly is just the accountability. Acknowledging that and this was me, that we didn't have the onboarding, left the board underinformed in years past, but we are fundamentally shifting our approach. This year, we are moving away from the single block status vote to individualized school evaluations based on conversation on history. This shift allows us to move from baseline compliance to intensive instructional support, while we set non-negotiable conditions for approval, such as real-time data dashboards and rapid response triggers for off-track students. So by voting individually and citing these obligations, we are ensuring that federal funds passing through APS use as meaningful opportunity for Albuquerque's most vulnerable students rather than a compliance exercise. So we'll have that dialogue, and this is something new for all the board, except for our newbies who probably are like, oh, wow, new steps. But I'm just trying to get more informed, but also with the board recognizing we do have that federal compliance. And if anything were to happen in those schools, we would be responsible. So it's up to us to take that responsibility serious. So thank you for being here. And we'll go ahead and move forward.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Duran Blakey. We come before you to seek approval, excuse me, on MRI and CSI applications for 15 high schools. Board member feedback from last year indicated that board members wanted additional information on the overall process. And this evening, we have prepared a presentation that includes this information. So if we can go to the next slide, please. So the general purpose, and the president did allude to this, is to inform the board and to clarify the responsibilities for planning support, internal approval, and overall monitoring. Definitions, this is like alphabet soup. So CSI is comprehensive support and MRI is more rigorous intervention for schools. And this is for increased oversight, improvement, to increase graduation rate. The PED expectations of APS leadership, part of the process included direct guidance, resources, and oversight to all schools in designation, supporting data review and root cause analysis through the 90-day plan creation, guiding the pathway selection for each school, making sure that funding is aligned and ensuring fiscal compliance under ESSA, monitoring progress in NM School Dash, which are the 90-day plans for each school, and again, providing ongoing support, not just through the application process, but through implementation, technical and programmatic assistance for implementation. Each school had an option to choose from one of 3 areas. These are called pathways, and each pathway must be selected, documented, and aligned to the interventions in the 90-day plan. And again, districts and schools were each able to choose their own pathway. The first one is significantly restructure and redesign. The second option is restart. And the third option is school closure. The pathways for each area for MRI schools, the traditional schools, Freedom and New Futures chose significant restructure and redesign, as did all 10 charter schools. School on Wheels chose the restart pathway. The CSI schools, Monzano and ECAD, did not have to choose a pathway. We did include the PED resources as links for your reference and outlined the board education role, which should be the next slide, to review and approve school plans, ensure governance alignment and accountability, supporting transparency for all community and stakeholders, and providing oversight of strategic resource alignment. As President Tomarito mentioned, this is both compliance obligation as well as a strategic opportunity for these schools. Strong district oversight supports better graduation outcomes, and focused intervention can strengthen long-term school improvement. That concludes our presentation, and we now stand for questions.
Can you define that? I know there was an application and then there was the plan itself.
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Duran Blakey. Before you in each school's packet, there are 3 items. The first is the school's fall 90-day plan that outlines the root cause analysis, the data review, and the critical actions that ensue. The budget for each school. Now, this budget is specific to school improvement funds. It is not the school's overall comprehensive budget. The MRI or CSI budget, all expenditures must align to the 90-day plan critical actions. And the third and final documentation is the school's plan. So that would be all of either the restart or the significant restructure and redesign. All of those are aligned and are before you for review.
All right, so we will go to do you have any questions for the presenters? No. So we'll go ahead on our next item, approval of Albuquerque Charter Academy application. So do we need to go ahead and pass the motion in a second?
Yes, ma'am. Board President, we need a motion and a second in order to move the agenda item from the agenda itself to the table for discussion.
And please cite, before we ask for a motion, we need to ask the board to vote to approve the school application and the narrative LEA, MRI, CSI documents as part of each school vote. Do I get a motion in a second?
I move to approve the Albuquerque Charter Academy application. This is Member Jackson.
I will second Member Astorga.
That's sufficient enough? Or do you need to
Applicable documents, correct?
applicable?
Yes, can we include,
Sorry,
can
can
we add to the motion the school application and the narrative LEA, MRI, CSI documents?
Oy, that's not on the agenda. You're gonna have to say that again. I did not.
Please.
And all narrative documents.
Board Member Storga, do you accept that amendment?
I accept that amendment.
Okay, Board Member Jackson, motion to approve the application and the narrative LEA documents, and Board Member Storga second. Any discussion? Any discussion or little time, guys? No? All right, I don't have any, and I'll have some along the way, but I don't have any for Albuquerque Charter School. So we call for a vote.
Janelle Estorga,
Yes.
Rebecca Benson,
Yes.
Joshua Martinez.
Yes.
Heather Benavides.
Yes.
Roikia Bowman,
Yes.
Courtney Jackson.
Yes.
Ronaldo Tomorito.
Yes, and the motion carries. We'll go ahead and move on to 3.3. Approval of the Albuquerque 5.3, I'm sorry. The approval of Albuquerque Talent Development Academic Application. Can I get a motion and a second?
I move that we approve the Albuquerque Talent Development Academy application, LEA, CSI documents as well. This is Board Member Benavides.
I'll second. This is Board Member Martinez.
Board Member Benavides, motion to approve the application and narrative LEA documents, and Board Member Martinez, second. Do we have any discussion? Nope. All right, call for a vote.
Janelle Estorga,
Yes.
Rebecca Benson.
Yes.
Joshua Martinez.
Yes.
Heather Benavides.
Yes.
Roikia Bowman,
Yes.
Courtney Jackson.
Yes.
Ronaldo Tomorito.
Yes. And the motion carries. We'll go ahead now to 5.4, approval of the ACE Leadership High School application. A motion and a second.
I move to approve the ACE Leadership High School application and all narrative documents. This is Member Jackson.
And I'll second Board Member Benavides.
Okay, Board Member Jackson, motion to approve the application and narrative LEA documents, and Board Member Benavides, second. Is there any discussion? No, I have one. I know you stated in there that there was 85% of students were identified with inaccurate credit tracking information. And its graduation systems are fragmented. Can you define that a little on what that's stating?
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Duran Blakey, based on the application, there were interventions that were not applied systemically, and they were reactive versus proactive. So the new data implementation system is in effect now. They're actually up and running using funds for that. And the purpose is to be proactive in identifying students so that interventions can occur quickly and that interventions are more sustainable across the student population through teacher training and making sure through leadership that interventions are followed through on.
And just based on our federal obligations, the data. And my other concern is Martinez and Yazzie. If the data is not accurate, how are you also initiating Martinez and Yazzie?
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Duran Blakey, there are several questions in the MRI application that ask the school to specifically break down the data, the current data they have, and to explain what they're going to do to increase that grad rate. It's also in the 90-day plan. So in both of those documents, it does state that the interventions were fragmented. They're acknowledging that as part of a root cause
and they're putting in steps, critical action steps specifically for those student groups to address that concern. That was specifically asked in this application.
Madam President, just for clarification, the principals and the governing council of the schools are here. So if you do want to hear more specific to the actual work of the school, you're welcome to. They are present if you need to ask them questions.
Sure, I would like to know how they initiate that plan since they approved this moving forward. What are those steps?
Madam President, members of the board, and Superintendent Duran Blakey, the initial question around the credit tracking and the inconsistencies have to do with the method with which ACE was hand tracking credits from students. So 70% of our students come to us having spent 2.32 years at other high schools. When we get them, they transfer to us from other schools. So immediately we have to hand track their credits in order to create a graduation plan. And what we've noticed through that process is human error along the way. And so one way to ensure that as soon as our students enter our building and they enroll with us, that they have a graduation plan that will get them graduated within the 4 years. So they graduate with their 4-year cohort. We wanted to use the MRI grant to help fund a program that automates that credit tracking so that we're not literally there by hand tracking each credit and then creating a plan based on that when we find, oh, we missed the health credit. So we need to go back and relook at that plan.
Okay, because, yeah, I'm just asking that question because the word fragmented came out and that's what highlighted your school. And then when you look at the 85%, you know, it's very questionable based on your data and how that's being presented. Because when you relate that to Martinez and Yazzie, how is that broken down?
So I guess when we look at our student population, the majority of our student population falls within the Yazzie Martinez subgroups. So I guess I'm confused by the question. I'm sorry.
Well, when I'm looking for the breakdown of those subgroups within your data, and then how you're going to go ahead and proceed to move that forward. But like I'm saying, that fragmented word is an issue when it comes to Martinez and Yazzie students. And what are you going to use based on your data or using the funds for to achieve that goal of making sure that those requirements for Martinez and Yazzie are going to be followed through?
So currently the breakdown of our Martinez Yazzie students are about 33% of our students have IEPs, about 30% are English language learners, and about 64% of our students would qualify under socioeconomic status. So when we look at our processes for all of our students, all of our subgroups are part of our process, right? Currently, our special ed students and our English language learner students are graduating slightly above the rates of our general ed population.
Okay, is that based on IEPs? Is that on goal setting? How are you producing those high numbers?
Because our systems work, we currently have an 82% graduation rate as of last year.
And what are
the systems that we put in place through the CSI grant,
okay,
which is now rolling into the MRI grant, are functioning well.
And moving forward, because it's one of the things just based on the data and that the numbers that are being presented, how soon do you hope to have that corrected?
As soon as we get the money from the grant to start that program.
Okay.
Yeah, immediately, because it is it will allow our individualized graduation planning for each student to happen quickly and more efficiently.
Yeah, because it's
needed.
Yes, it's very well. It's very much needed. Thank you. Okay, that's all my questions. Anybody else? All right, we'll call for a vote.
Janelle Estrella,
Yes.
Rebecca Betson,
Yes.
Joshua Martinez,
Yes.
Heather Benavides.
Yes.
Reiki Bowman,
Yes.
Courtney Jackson.
Yes.
Ronaldo Morito.
Yes, with the conditions that with that funding, you improve the data and the results for the next term when you do come forward. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to 5.5. Approval of the Archer Academy High School application. Did I ask for a motion? And a second.
I move that we approve the Archer Academy High School application and LEA CSI narratives. This is Board Member Benavides.
I'll second. This is Member Jackson.
Okay, Board Member Benavides, motion to approve the application and the narrative for the LEA documents, and Board Member Jackson, second. Do we have discussion? Archer Academy. Let me look at my notes so I can see if I have anything going for them. No, we're all right on Archer. Okay, any discussion? All right, we'll call for a vote.
Janelle Estrella,
Yes.
Rebecca Betson.
Yes.
Joshua Martinez.
Yes.
Heather Benavides.
Yes.
Reiki Bowman,
Yes.
Courtney Jackson.
Yes.
Ronaldo Morito.
Yes. And the motion carries. 5.6, approval of E-Academy High School application. I need a motion and a second.
I move that we approve the E-Academy High School application and LEA and CSI narratives. This is Board Member Benavides.
I will second. Member Estrella.
Board Member Benavides, motion to approve the application and narrative for the LEA documents, and Board Member Astorga, second. Is there any discussion? No? All right, call for the vote.
Janelle Estrella,
Yes.
Rebecca Betson.
Yes.
Martinez.
Yes.
Heather Benavides.
Yes.
Reiki Bowman,
Yes.
Courtney Jackson.
Yes.
Ronaldo Morito.
Yes. And the motion carries. So we'll go ahead and move on to item 5.7, approval of Freedom High School application. I need a second, a motion and then a second.
I move to approve Freedom High School application and narrative documents.
I will second.
All right. Board Member Jackson, motion to approve the application and narrative for LEA documents, and Board Member Astorga, second. Is there any discussion? No, I don't have any. So we'll call for a vote.
Janelle Estrella,
Yes.
Rebecca Betson.
Yes.
Joshua Martinez.
Yes.
Heather Benavides.
Yes.
Reiki Bowman,
Yes.
Courtney Jackson.
Yes.
Ronaldo Morito.
Yes. Moving on to 5.8. Approval of the Gilbert Senna Charter School.
I move that we approve the Gilbert Senna Charter High School application and LEA and CSI narratives. This is Board Member Benavides.
I will second. Member Estrella.
All right, Board Member Benavides, motion to approve the application and the narrative LEA documents, and Board Member Astorga, second. Any discussion?
Madam President, I have some discussion. So I just noticed in reviewing the charter school graduation rates that the graduation rate for Gilbert Senna is fairly low. And I understand you may have really challenging demographics, but if the principal is here or if other staff could let us know what challenges you're facing. And let me also say, we just really appreciate you serving these students.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board, and Superintendent Blakey. They're our favorite. They're absolutely our favorite students. And as far as the tough demographics is concerned, The growth from 22 to 25 is upwards of 30%. When I first took over the building at the beginning of the first 3-year cycle, we had a graduation rate of 32%. Today, in the class or in the cohort 2025, we have a 51.5% graduation rate. And what we've begun to do and are very excited about the next 3 years moving forward, next 3-year cycle with the CSI money moving forward, is to begin to catch the tough demographics sooner. We all know research tells us the earlier the intervention, the better, the more successful the student outcome, both academically, behaviorally, and then of course, graduation rate. We recover up to 8 credits a year, sometimes more, depending on how the student re-engages. We too have an individualized learning plan of 8, where our mission aligned goals with our APS charter contract is one of 2 of them is that that when students come to Sena High, they return to being on track in their cohort within 1.5 years of enrollment. Today, that happens 80.9% of the time. And earning that 8 credit individualized learning plan happens 81.5% of the time. And that's up from the mid 70s from the last 3 years. So the goal is in the restructure and redesign is to develop the smaller learning environments in the house model, where we'll have 3 school within a school programs, academy models, that are designed to catch the students earlier and push that graduation rate forward.
Thank you. That's really helpful. Just one more follow-up question. You told us about having the smaller class sizes. What other interventions do you feel like are working really well at your school?
Sure. So we have implemented 2 things, a mission-aligned advocacy model. You guys probably know it as a traditional advisory model. Our spin is that we really hover around the early intervention and early engagement through college and career pathways. So when a student comes to us, part of their accelerated learning plan is to learn their skills and aptitudes right there off the spot. It's part of our onboarding process. As the student moves through that advocacy model, they have that one champion, which, as you guys can probably assume, many of our students do not. My governance council member can tell you it is really hard to get families to come to Sena. We have been largely successful in transforming that family engagement. It is hard. We have majority of our students come to family engagement night without a parent, without someone. So that is the first large restructure and refocus, is to get really specific and really intentional in our advocacy model, where they've got one champion to help them on their career path, whether that's CTE, a 4-year college. We have one student from Maui, that is has finished an associate's degree in the class of 2025, and is going back to her country to serve in the medical community there as a result of that associate's degree. That's just one of many spotlights of being off track to coming back on track. The second program is our high dosage tutoring program. We all know small group intervention. We also know small groups and station teaching works. So right there in our, whether it's an initial English 12 class, all the way down to an acceleration lab, or what we call it, what traditionally is a credit recovery class, we have small group intervention designed to help push that forward. Part of this restructure and redesign is funding to current staff members to be licensed instructors that push into our high dosage tutoring or push into classrooms, both Monday through Friday on an as-need basis. Fridays are short time, quick at-bats, and they will spend comprehensive time alongside all of our teachers on Fridays.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I got a couple of questions.
Sure.
You have a, what's your plan? Is that your database?
Yeah, so that's the 8-credit accelerating learning model that we call What's Your Plan? When they come to us, that often, right, what do you want to do? What's your plan? They don't have one. That's why they're coming to us. So that What's Your Plan digs into their data and helps them formulate that individualized learning plan as they progress through their years with us at Sena.
And how do you maintain that? Is it a weekly, monthly, or
Yeah, good question. So that's part of that advocacy model. It's literally ingrained. They visit that and components of that daily. It's assessed bi-weekly, informal feedback and one-on-one documented meetings with teachers in a mission-aligned standard rubric. And then every quarter we have student-led conference where they bring one mentor with them, and we essentially assess their portfolio. Part of that big portfolio is their next step plan, and we too have just generated a very mission-specific next step plan that meets all of the credit tracking and requirements and so forth. With the idea that they can be fluent in what their plan is when they're done with us. Currently, I would call them proficient.
And you have a 6-period academy block. Can you give me an example of how that works?
Yeah, so that is part of the next 3-year cycle plan in our Bell schedule. What we learned through teacher and truly student outcomes and teacher feedback was we don't have enough time to have high quality one-on-one what we call student chats, where they go through their accelerated learning plan. Are they on track in math, English, and science? Are they attending our 90% of the time? And have they had any out of school behavior items? In that academy intervention block, that's designed to bring their whole team of teachers into the meeting, where we run an empathy interview and a standard what we call student talk protocol to attempt to re-engage if an intervention is needed anywhere along the lines, and to make sure that they are back on track if they're at risk of falling off. Or that we significantly adjust their plan so they can re-engage and be back on track.
And how often is that done?
Good question. So we evaluate that every other week. And as we run what we call our dropout risk indicator table, where they've got currently, as it gets exported out of PowerSchool, they have they've got to have current Fs in math, English, or science, and their attendance, which is a big one for us, is less than 80%. That automatically generates one of these success plan meetings or kid talk protocol that's led by their advocate. I go to them, my dean of students goes to them, social work if needed, which is a lot of them, and special education as well.
You mentioned for Martinez-Yazzie subgroups, street level data reviews. Is that, can you explain that a little more?
Yeah, so we operate at Sena with street level data reviews, meaning we're sitting side by side with our advocates. Map level data is the stuff that comes across my desk, right? And then the satellite data is the stuff that the mission aligned dashboards and things like that that's being reported out.
And do you also, through those particular conversations, how many students do you find that are intersected through the subgroups? You know, one kid may be in special education. They may also be economically disadvantaged. They may also have ELL.
Sure. Yeah, good question. 68% of our students cross at least 2 subgroups.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
That's all I have. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Okay, sure.
Thank you for being here this evening.
Of course.
I am referencing page 252 in the packet, and it's about chronic absenteeism rates. And so in FY23, you were at 88%, FY24, 68%. in FY 25, 72%. And so the information provided says the increase in the FY 25 rate reflects the school's enrollment growth among highly mobile and historically disengaged students requiring intensive re-engagement. Now, we have a lot of this information at very granular level, but could you, for the folks here and the folks watching, explain a little bit about the highly mobile, historically disengaged students and what is this intensive re-engagement?
Yeah. So piloting this intensive re-engagement, I think it's really important. I just pulled our attendance intervention plan as I analyze all of our end of year data across the whole school. It's dropped to 27.2%. Awesome. Back to the highly mobile, 28% of our students are McKinney-Vento. Over 40% at one point at 80th day were students with special needs. Economically disadvantaged, reported through our school foods and our CEP and our school lunch program stuff is 98% of students on free and reduced lunch. And what we know is through truly the support of APS's McKinney-Vento office and foster care office and partnerships with juvenile probation that we've established over the last 3 years has been a significant resource to us to keep kids engaged and kids engaged in school.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear that.
Yes, yes.
All right, Board Member Betson.
I'm just curious about your empathy interview. Is it something that is done in person, one-on-one, or what does it consist of?
Yeah, good question. So depending on whether it's attendance, behavior, or credits, depends on our standard 2 questions. And we rely on the relationship with their advocate. Now, not every student has the best relationship with the advocate, so we kind of take those on a case-by-case basis. I would say over 90% of our advocates and our teachers have the right relationship to conduct those empathy interviews where we're going to get some student voice at the table. So they ask one-on-one, you're going to go to where we got to go talk with our entire team. You've missed, I'm making it up, you've got an attendance rate of 66%. We haven't seen it in, the last, whatever, 8 of 10 days or what have you. In order to re-engage you and get you back on track, we gotta know a couple of things. Tell us what's happened. I don't have anybody at home. The next question often is naturally why. The empathy interview it essentially goes into tell me more about that. We'll talk about one of our favorite kind of go-to students. Who just graduated this year, pretty much raised by his probation officer, who came to a couple of those success meetings. Come to find out was being raised by, at the time, a 24-year-old sister with two kids, and I don't have rides to school. Now we know a root cause why he's missed 8 out of 10 days, right? So we just take that to his team, and now the advocate on behalf of the student can begin to share the story. Depending on the relationship, we often try to get the student to share first. In this case, that didn't happen until way later, that he was brave enough to share. So once that comes back, we then go through our Kid Talk protocol about what he needs. This particular student, we operationally fund teen Uber cards. He's a student with special needs. So we issued him 2 teen Uber gift cards to get him started. And then he uses those teen Uber cards to essentially return and attend back to school.
Very nice. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I just have one more question that's for your governing board. President, are you the president?
No, I'm the treasurer.
Oh, okay. I just want to know your process, and because many times we get questions from, could be community members, could be parents wanting to, they don't fully understand your role as a governing board, and they think as APS board members, we're the ones that should answer the questions on behalf of you. So I just give brief.
Sure. If I could just add my 2 cents, I guess. I feel that what truly engages our students is the culture at Gilbert Sena, and the culture has been established. with just the children's utmost care in mind by our director as well as her staff, and they are so engaged in this plan. We've seen it at our meetings, they've presented some things, but as a governing board, I've been on the board for about 4 years, and I honestly, it is one of the most proud things that I do, because I get to be a part of seeing changes to our future and our kids' futures. So, but generally, as the treasurer, I oversee the finance, our business managers, they provide us with reports. I often tell people that if they don't know about a school, attend one of the board meetings, see what's going on, because you will find out everything. We go through our agenda. It's open to anyone that is willing to listen. I'm sure you all know. But honestly, it's a volunteer role, but I feel like I receive the biggest benefit. But there is some times like this where we really need to, get in with the grind and get work done and help support the staff. We evaluate everything that's brought to us, and we should be able to answer those questions. I feel my engagement over the last year, because I've had a little bit more time since my children are no longer in my home, that I've been able to engage a little bit more. It's difficult when you're raising kids and wanting to do this to be able to really be in tune with everything that's going on at the school. But at our meetings, we allow the time. We already know sometimes our meetings can be 2 or 3, 4 hours, but we want to make sure our questions get answered. Transparency is key, and I feel I've never had a question in transparency. I've always known where to go, but I do feel that it is one of the most rewarding things that anyone can do. If their child's attending a school, attend your board meetings, know what's going on at the school. But my mom was PTA president for like 6 years of my life, so this is normal for me. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it's just one of the things that I think we never get to hear from the governing board, and it's always gives that opportunity as you're sitting there. Just don't want you to sit there and not get to say anything. But thank you for your work, and thank you all for the work you're doing.
I have a quick,
Sure, go ahead.
President Tomorito. I just want to commend you on that whole process that you described to us and the advocacy that you give our students, because we're your students. I wish that we can replicate that in every single school that we have, because just the amount of time and care and the intention that you have when you work with your students, it sounds remarkable. So thank you so much for all of that work and all of the process that you put into place, right? To make sure that you have the staff, the resources, and then like the teen Uber cards, that's just another layer of, we thought through everything. So I really appreciate you sharing that little piece of your school with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Madam President, if I
Oh,
could, and
sorry.
I'm maybe out of order, but just out of curiosity, wondering about how you get the money for the Uber teen rides?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be 100% transparency. You got the treasurer sitting right here.
Sure.
I asked for it for a line item in my budget, and it comes out of operational funds.
Awesome.
Full stop.
Because I think that's crucial for many of our students
Sure.
across our district.
There's a little bit of a trick. I'm sure Superintendent Blakey can attest to this. There's a little bit of a trick to seeking Medicaid reimbursement through students with special needs also. That has also been an eye-opening experience for me of how many of our students are truly on and reported in Medicaid. Those families do not know that they have access to the free ride, right? They have no idea. So being able to walk some families through that process for advocating on behalf of their students to put the tool in their toolbox so, we get them started and they finish it type of thing, has also been, I'm not gonna lie, time consuming, but at the end of the day, extremely rewarding.
Yeah, and so I just want to commend you on that. Great idea. And Dr. Becky, if KPS could
So
Somehow.
in all honesty, where I was going with that was the Medicaid funding
Sure.
through IEPs. We do seek some reimbursement.
Sure.
But that isn't necessarily every student.
Sure, understood, but I think that's a great resource that is available. Thank you
Board
so
Member
much.
Betson.
I have a follow-up question on that, and really, it's more of a, when I think of APS and think of you guys as well, what about the legalities of putting a kid in an Uber and like, I understand most of these kids that you're dealing with are not having a parental person to sign off, like, how do you handle the legalities of that? Because I can just imagine it would be a legality nightmare.
So again, transparency. We've learned a couple lessons in utilizing different rides, getting to the use of the Teen Uber card. We have a policy in place that states it's only school to home and home to school. And part of my early warning systems team and business management team is to run an audit checklist on every reimbursement that my dean, who's in charge of my early warning system, processes. We've kicked some of those back. We have, because you go to pull up or approve, an address and it's the Panda Express on Lomas and Eubank. That's not home, right? So true, there is a back-end process that I'm really proud of with our team to make sure that those checks and balances are in place. As far as the legality is concerned, in our world, when they come to us, as board member Bowman suggested, our students need the empowerment, right? They need here's the ticket to help you get started. Now, what's the solution to share the getting your student to school, right?
I guess my legality was more about safeness of the kid in an Uber with an adult that.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying. In that onboarding process, we help facilitate putting them on the app themselves. And as the student leaves, they have to show our front desk person that it is the Teen Uber, that it is the right address. That's a little bit of a tall ask for our front desk person, right? To remember the address. We have enough students on there. It became repetition towards the end. And then the double check on the back end is we don't pay anything that didn't end up at their house, right? So if mom calls and says, no, I need you to go get your brother, I'm making it up, behind us at Kennedy Middle School. I've never had that happen. Let's pretend. We would not, our parents know they would not pay for that. That's part of the onboarding, the app, the contract. Let's help you get Medicaid reimbursement, those types of things.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any more questions? All right, discussion is over. We'll go ahead and take a vote.
Janelle Estorga,
Yes.
Rebecca Betson.
Yes.
Juan Martinez.
Yes.
Heather Benavides.
Yes.
Marikia Bowman.
Yes.
Courtney Jackson.
Yes.
Ronaldo Tomorito.
Yes, and the motion carries. Thank you for your time and for your diligence and
Of course.
providing for those students.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go ahead and move on to 5.9, approval of Gordon Bernal Charter High School application. Do I have a motion and a second?
I move to approve the school application and narrative LEA, MRI, CSI documents as part of each. Yeah. So let's approve all the documents that are attached.
Do I have a second?
I'll second Board Member Benavides.
Right, Board Member Bowman. Motion to approve the application and narrative LEA documents and Board Member, hold on, I wrote this wrong. Benavides. Second. Any discussion?
Madam President, I have some discussion.
Sure.
I had a really wonderful experience with our Director of Charter Schools attending the Gordon Bernal High School graduation. And I was so impressed by both the teachers and the students. And one of the teachers gave me the opportunity to meet all of the graduating students and talk to their families for a minute. And I just want to say for the record, I know that there are going to be some people watching out there who are like, well, why do we care about incarcerated children? But what we know is that when we have incarcerated people and they attain their educational goals, they're so much less likely to experience recidivism. So getting that high school degree, and we're not talking about a GED, we're talking about a high school degree. That is really a pathway to entering society and becoming a productive member of society. And we have so much lower recidivism rates in these kids who manage to complete their high school degrees. So it was a real honor and a real pleasure to get to see this facility and to meet with teachers and meet with the principal and meet with the director who I see in the audience today. And it was just literally my best days at this job have been the Metropolitan Detention Center graduation, the Gordon Bunnell graduation. And I just ask all of our board members to see the amazing work that is going on there.
Any questions? I have one, and this is about the base leadership structure. I just want to know more about the structure.
Madam President, members of the board, and Superintendent Blakey, if I can interpret the question appropriately, as part of our restructuring process, we are looking to reassign roles amongst our leadership team. And is that where you're?
Yes, yes.
So historically, we've, because we run multiple campuses, we have a campus inside the Metropolitan Detention Center, and then we have a community campus. We've assigned leadership kind of geographically, right? We have an administrator for one campus, an administrator for another campus. And then my role as the director is kind of overseeing all campuses and programs. And what we're moving towards is a more specialized assignment of roles so that we can be just more efficient and more effective. And so instead of our leadership solely being assigned by campus, we have our principal who will be really responsible for school improvement initiatives and staff accountability across campuses. So taking on the responsibility of evaluations, observations, and feedback cycles. So there's some consistency in terms of expectations, and we can standardize the way that we're doing some of our work. And then each campus will have an administrator focused on, or at least a part-time administrator focused on student success and early warning systems. So one administrator really focused on staff accountability and holding strong to our school improvement initiatives, while we have other either full-time or quasi part-time administrators focused on early warning systems, student success, student interventions, making sure that our MLSS systems are functioning the way they should, and that type of work. And then myself as the director focusing on finance, operations, HR. It is noted that while the funding streams are separate, the organization does serve both high school and adult ed programs. And so as the director, I'm also overseeing our HED funded adult ed program, which serves about the same number of students as our high school program does.
Has there been a problem in the past of like ownership of whatever those dual responsibilities are with leadership, of recognizing, student success and yes?
I think what we're really, I don't know that the problem, I think what we're trying to get is consistency across implementation. It's in some ways it's hard to keep the two campuses running in similar ways. They're very different campuses. One is inside in a detention facility, and has to operate underneath a detention center's hierarchical and system. And our community campus is certainly transitioning those students from incarceration, but also serving students who have not been in the criminal justice system, but really need a very flexible approach to re-engagement with school. And so what we're really after is making sure that there's, if we can increase the consistency, I think the long-term goal is that we can increase retention in our transfer students. Right, we have a large number of students who show up at our community campus post-release, and a lower percentage of students that we can retain with all of the competing priorities of restabilizing post-incarceration. And so what we're hoping is through standardization, through really making sure that there is consistency once you transition from one campus to the other, that will also support retention and our ability to continue with students through the challenges that they face post-incarceration.
Another question is Martinez and Yazzie. Can you define how you create that plan, look at that plan, and really, because I know with incarcerated students, it's one of the things that you see those populations pretty rapid. So I'd just like to know, how do you guys proceed in instruction? How do you make that happen for those students?
I think that the kind of multi-year average is somewhere between 3 to 5% of our students that do not belong to a subgroup identified in Martinez-Yazzie. So we were really founded with the understanding that we wanted to work with students who have not been successful in traditional systems. Similarly to other schools that have commented this evening, high special education rates, higher rates of Native American and African-American students than the general population in the metro area. And so, you know, we really look at our interventions being individualized to the student, and we're getting better at tracking data across the subpopulations. I can acknowledge that that hasn't been a focus of our data collection over the past. What was really important for many years was to be able to track students as they engaged, disengaged, and re-engaged with education. So a lot of our systems were about preserving really accurate records for students who returned multiple times, as opposed to really comparing demographic data across the board. And so as part of our CSI funding over the last couple of years, we've been heavily invested in new data collection systems so that we can start to track some of these subgroup data sets more holistically in an aggregated data sense. You know, philosophically, we look at every student as needing interventions that are targeted to their specific challenges and their specific barriers. And we know that we are serving the students identified in the Martinez-Yazzie lawsuit.
Thank you. Any other questions? Oh, thank you very much.
Yep.
And we'll go ahead and call for a vote.
Nella Storga,
Yes.
Rebecca Benson.
Yes.
Joshua Martinez,
Yes, thank
Heather Benavides.
Yes.
Mauricio Bowman,
Yes.
Courtney Jackson,
Yes.
and Alder Morito.
Yes, and thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go ahead and move on to 5.10. We're almost there, guys, almost there. Approval of the Health Leadership High School application. And I need a motion and a second.
I move that we approve the Health Leadership High School application and LEA and CSI narratives. Board Member Benavides.
And I second it. This is Board Member Betson.
Board Member Benavides, motion to approve the application and narrative LEA documents, and Board Member Benson seconds. The floor is open for discussion.
Madam
And-
President?
Yes.
if I could. As a professional in the healthcare field, I just want to commend the Health Leadership High School for their work that they do. Of course, we know that New Mexico lacks healthcare professionals across the state of New Mexico, and this is a great opportunity for individuals who would like to seek healthcare opportunities. And it's a great opportunity. I previously, when I worked for the American Heart Association, was a judge for many of the projects that these students participated in. And even now, I haven't talked to Ms. Archuleta, but I work with the American Diabetes Association. Would be happy to also be a judge again, as I really feel strongly about this high school and the work that they're doing. So just wanted to commend Ms. Archuleta and the work that Health Leadership High School is doing.
Anyone else? All right, we call for the vote.
Janelle Astorga.
Yes.
Rebecca Betson.
Yes.
Joshua Martinez.
Yes.
Heather Benavides.
Yes.
Mauricio Bowman. Courtney Jackson.
Yes.
Ronaldo Tom Morito.
Yes, and the motion carries. And we'll go ahead and move on to 5.11. Approval of La Academia de Esperanza Charter High School application. Do I have a motion and a second?
I move that we approve the La Academia de Esperanza Charter High School application, LEA and CSI narratives. This is Board Member Benavides.
And I second it. This is Board Member Betson.
All right, Board Member Benavides, motion to approve the application and the narrative for LEA documents, and Board Member Betson second. We open the floor for discussion. We're having Academia de Esperanza or discussion. I don't know if you have any questions, Board Member Bowman. No? I do. I know that the MRI status failed, and then they exit CSI status after 3 consecutive years. And so the data showed a 66% drop in referencing learn objectives during the spring. I would like to know more. Oh, thank you for coming up. The internal walkthrough, your observer panel, do you know, could you just explain that a little?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. Yes, Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Duran Blakey. What we have found out through our data collection and our observations and just surveys to our students and our parents is that we were trying to include everybody, which now we have students who observe classes, we have parents who observe classes, our board comes in and observe classes. We have an outside agency who comes in and observe classes. So what we do is we're trying to align all classes so that when the students goes to a math class, goes to an English class, goes to a science class, the way the information is presented is all very similar. So they're not learning a new pathway or a new track or a new way of trying to gain knowledge or gain the curriculum that's being presented.
And do you currently have, whether it's digital or software, on how do you look into that credit earned for those students?
Yes, Madam President. I believe right now I have the most bolsterous program that I have shared with the PED, with the Public Education Department, and I am trying to keep it. So we have our program now, all the data that gets inputted gets refreshed every 12 hours. So we're looking at real-time data. I can bolster it up that it will refresh every 2 hours. That costs a little money, and so as Dr. Blair has indicated that I can spend some of our MRI money to go ahead and do that. So we're looking at real-time data on pretty much everything you can ask of any of our students.
And that has been a problem in the past.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, the program has just been created. It was created by myself and my brother. And so we have now shared it with the Public Education Superintendent, Assistant Deputy Secretary Amanda DeBell as well. And she is very impressed by it.
And I know based on the conditions in the failing one and then having the 3 consecutive years continue and moving forward. So what do you plan to do differently? And I know you just explained this credit review plan.
Correct. Yes, ma'am. Yes, also, we have brought in, instead of just credit recovery online, outside of school time, we have, created a new schedule, so our credit recovery not only happens outside of school time, but during school time. So if a student hasn't reached his or her 11th grade English because they failed 9th and 10th grade, instead of forcing them to try to learn something they haven't learned yet, they don't have the scaffolding implemented yet in their mind, we are able to put them in a 9th grade English class or a 10th grade or whichever credit they're missing alongside their current credit that they're trying to earn or current class. We also have a push-in now for our special ed students. We have push-ins now, so they will, instead of the student being pulled out of the class and now missing more instructional time, we are now pushing into the classes. So hopefully to increase some of that knowledge and assistance and guidance.
Do you get support from the district with your special education IEPs and supports?
Yes, ma'am. We get strong support from our charter leader team.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? All right, we'll go ahead and take a vote.
Janelle Astorga,
Yes.
Rebecca Benson,
Yes.
Joshua Martinez.
Yes.
Heather Benavides.
Yes.
Waikia Bowman,
Yes.
Kate Jackson.
Yes.
Ronaldo Tomorito.
Yes, and thank you very much. We'll go ahead and move to 5.12. Approval of Manzano High School application. I need a motion and a second.
I move to approve Monzano High School's application and all supporting narrative LEA, MRI, CSI documents.
Thank you. A second.
I'll second. This is Board Member Benavides.
Okay, Board Member Bowman, motion to approve the application and narrative for LEA documents, and Board Member Benavides and second. Any discussion? There is none. So let's go ahead for a vote.
Janelle Astorga,
Yes.
Rebecca Benson,
Yes.
Joshua Martinez.
Yes.
Heather Benavides.
Yes.
Waikia Bowman,
Yes.
Courtney Jackson,
Yes.
Ronaldo Tomorito.
Yes, and the motion carries. Let's go on to 5.13. Approval of New America High School application. A motion and a second. Please.
I move that we approve the New America High School application and the LEA and CSI narratives. This is Board Member Benavides.
Got it.
I'll second. I'm just gonna let you do all the motions, member.
We won't put you in that spot. Okay, Board Member Benavides, motion to approve the application and the narrative LEA documents. Board Member Jackson, second. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? I would like to question about the bilingual program and its execution.
Madam President, members of the board and Superintendent Duran Blakey, both the director and the board cannot be here because they're in a board meeting right now. Okay, so I'm going to do my best. We've been involved, the school is also in the process of going through renewal. So we have talked to them about this process as a renewal option, as well as what they're doing here. They have recognized that so many of their students are bilingual that it made sense to them to move in a direction to provide bilingual education. So they are in the process of looking at people to hire for that purpose, to move that process in sort of in a step process. So we know that the first place to start is with language. So they're looking at dual language arts, and things like that, and hoping to find someone who's also dual language math certified. I know those are the two that they're really focusing on. And Kristen, who's in my office, and I spoke with them before the meeting, just kind of talk with them, and I know they are interviewing actively right now.
How are you going to go about with the monitoring the ELL language proficiency? I know you talked about the Spanish language programs, but with a high population of ELL learners, how would you go about monitoring that proficiency?
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Durand Blakey. So part of it is they recognize that they need to improve their instructional program. And they're going to be providing what they call a structured language development program. They would go across all classrooms and they'd mandate a daily content, language objectives, and targeted small group instruction. So if I have seen this in other schools, and I know this is what they're copying. You would walk into the room and you would actually see the visuals in chart paper on the board or in whiteboards. These are the objectives, and often you'll see them side by side, English and Spanish. And as people become more proficient, you would see, but you'd see the combination of them. The issue that we spoke with them about and that they want to address is making sure that the Spanish is academic language with the English, right? That's the essential of the bilingual. And so those are the charts that you will see and the learning objectives you'll see throughout all the classrooms.
And is this part of the Martinez-Yazzie plan also?
Well, absolutely. Yeah, they have very, Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Durand Blakey, their program, they have very high poverty rate and very high ELL population as well as special ed population. And so this is exactly who they're trying to target. And new director who began kind of the beginning of last year and recognized that this is the way to address the needs of this school.
Also in the plan, there was cited structural data failure. Can you speak on that a little? And it's regarding tracking and some of your instructional turnaround plans?
So Madam President, members of the board and Superintendent Durand Blakey, two different things. They believe that their data system was reactive first, right? So get the information and then say, oh, what did we do wrong? And so they are intentionally calling it a proactive data system where they're tracking so that they can make real-time, what they call real-time changes. Secondly, they call them cohort specific because they're trying to identify students as you hear from some of these schools, right? So someone might be the equivalent of a freshman, but 17. And so cohort specific, what are the needs of a student with 3 credits, 4 credits, and how do we help that person? And which would mean tracking attendance and letting people know immediately, okay, missed a couple, we've got to identify, we've got to contact them and get them back in school quickly. We've got to find out what they've missed. And then working, then the other piece is, so that's an individual basis. And then they are talking about attendance thresholds, monitoring then what they're trying to do as a school. Are they having an issue with the number of students, or can they bring that all into line as a group? Second way that they plan to improve that and be proactive, which you've heard a number of schools are doing this very same thing, is they are making sure that every student is connected to an advisory teacher, and they are calling their plan a flight plan, that every student has that direct, this is what I'm doing, I'm in this cohort, these are the things I need to do to be successful, links to specific credit requirements, and again, right, because this is a graduation, matching their graduation and career goals.
And how are MRI funds going to be used to help?
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Durand Blakey. There is a $200,000 budget, MRI budget, and part of that is going to a navigate salary. and that is actually for all MRI schools, and a navigator is a partial employee that focuses on turnaround work specifically. So they attend turnaround professional development sessions through the public education department, and they bring real-time data and real-time plans with the school. So in between 90-day check-in times, there are active transformation plans in place. So that's one of the areas. There are also an additional FTE for an at-risk coordinator. And that person supports the work of the graduation school leadership and systems component. So they're focusing specific individuals or partial individuals on specific areas of the 90-day plan. They're also purchasing technology, additional compensation for credit recovery so that teachers can be available outside of school hours as needed, and leadership team stipends to really deep dive into the work so that they're not pulling their teachers outside of the classroom and leaving them with subs.
Thank you. And we'll go ahead and call for a vote. Is there any other questions? All right, we'll call for a vote.
Janelle Astorga,
Yes.
Rebecca Benson.
Yes.
Joshua Martinez.
Yes.
Heather Benavides.
Yes.
Roikia Bowman.
Yes.
Courtney Jackson.
Yes.
Ronaldo Tomorito.
Yes, and the motion carries. Thank you. We'll go ahead and move on to 6.14, approval of New Futures High School application.
I move that we approve the New Futures High School application. LEA and CSI narratives. Board Member Benavides.
And I second it. This is Board Member Betson.
I'm like, oh, wow, I don't have to ask the question. All right, Board Member Benavides, a motion to approve the application, see you caught me off guard, and narrative LEA documents, and Board Member Betson second. Is there any discussion? No discussion? Well, I just want to say I was able to go to the graduation, and it was, you know, it's one of the things, and I think I mentioned that with the book I brought the other day, all the places you will go. But it was just amazing to see mothers and what was going on. And at the end, when all of the little babies came and they were carrying them to the stage, and I was like, the photographer's going to try and take a picture. What is that going to look like? They were crying, they wanted to run away and all these things, but it's pretty, and I'm so glad we give the opportunity for mothers and even fathers to attend and complete their education. And many of them had these dreams that what they wanted to go on to school, they wanted to carry on with their education, but they were doing tremendous work too within their communities. So I was really grateful to go and attend. And sometimes we forget that the offering of not only charter schools, but it is that specialized program for these unique populations of students that help to not only dwindle down these big school, populations and high schools that are so big that we can really dwindle them down to make them very private and look at the needs of those students. So I think that, often we forget too that it requires a partnership, and charter schools and working with them and doing what we need to also says we are making those opportunities for all students. So I think the community and those who work at Futures High School for their dedication and the amount of time it takes to make sure those students and those young women really get the program they need, but also help them overcome the challenges. But yes. Call for a vote?
Janelle Astorga.
Yes.
Rebecca Benson.
Yes.
Joshua Martinez.
Yes.
Heather Benavides.
Yes.
Roikia Bowman.
Yes.
Courtney Jackson.
Yes.
Ronaldo Tomorito.
Yes. All right, guys, we got two more. We're moving on to 5.15, and this is approval of Robert K. Kennedy Charter School. Is anybody gonna, before I ask? Okay. easier.
I move to approve the Robert R. Kennedy Charter School application and LEA and CSI narratives. This is Board Member Benavides.
And I second it. This is Board Member Betson.
I like the two Bs. Board Member Benavides, motion to approve the application and the narrative LEA documents, and Board Member Betson, second. Is there any discussion?
Yes, Madam
Board Member
President, I
Martinez.
do if anyone representing Robert F. Kennedy. From the report, looks like chronic absenteeism is a big issue. And I just would like to know how you all are addressing that.
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Duran Blakey, I'm sorry, board member, can you repeat the question? We were in transition.
Sure. It seems from the report that chronic absenteeism, as with many of our schools, is an issue. And how specifically, as I'd like to know how you're addressing that as it is in my district, and just curious how you're combating that.
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Duran Blakey, thank you for your question, sir. Just like many of our colleagues here in this room, and just like you mentioned, it's not a unique situation that Albuquerque is facing. And so part of our restructure and redesign is actually going to be working with Marzano's Resources, who is really going to be instrumental in supporting our instructional practices at our campus, which is going to really provide us with more engagement and more opportunity for our students to really see themselves in what we're teaching at the school, as well as providing opportunities for them to really start to think about post-secondary opportunities for them as well. And so our hope is that with that is going to keep our students in the seats.
Awesome, thank you. And we mentioned earlier, the Uber teens, different ideas that we can take from other schools. So just hoping we look at all options to be able to. It seems like with charter schools, programs like that are a little easier to come by than with our big district of APS. So just wanting for you to consider all options and put all options on the table.
Anyone else?
I just have a comment.
Sure.
I actually need to know if I need to amend the motion because I said Robert R. Kennedy, which felt weird at the time, and because I was reading it and it's RFK. Yeah,
Kennedy.
sorry, it felt weird when I said it. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah. Is that what you came up to tell me? You said that wrong.
I have a question. In your application under root causes for low performance, included underutilization of data and the fact that the school had not been tracking cohort data until the end of the year. Can you explain the reasoning for that?
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Duran Blakey, thank you for your question. Yes, that is something that we realized moving into the school year that we had the data, but a lot of things weren't being addressed. And so what we've done is we put together a robust data tracking spreadsheet that we're looking. And so as students are coming in, we're implementing procedures of marking and identifying where students are at within their cohort and being able to track that in real time. Additionally, in addition to what we do during the week in our advisory class for progress monitoring, when our students work with their advisory teachers, once a week during advisory, they look at their grades. And so that is also helping our students monitor where they are at in terms of attaining credit. And so once at the end of the semester, students are then realize if they're going to have to take another credit or if they're able to continue on. And so, this spreadsheet that we have in place right now has been updated and we're already ready to move forward with that. And in fact, we are actually in the process of trying to see how we could blend those two with our student information system through PowerSchool, because PowerSchool does say that they have a system very similar to what we have. And so we're trying to make sure that our spreadsheet is in alignment with our student information system as well, so that we can fully support our students.
Also, the mentioning of student solutions, a bi-weekly structure, how to document through interviews and logs. Can you go into detail a little bit about that?
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Duran Blakely. So at our school, we do host a student solutions meeting bi-weekly. And what that is every 2 weeks, our staff come together and we looked for flags for our students in terms of attendance, behavior, core content, grade, to see if we have students who are considered at risk. Those students who are at risk in any one of those categories are then brought to our student solutions meeting. During our student solutions meeting, we talk as a staff. Some other staff members may work with the student, have a better solution to support that particular student in any one of those categories. And from then also, we also determine if further interventions are needed at that time. Depending upon those interventions, that meeting then transitions to an early warning meeting where initially this year it was working with school partners on how they could support us with the interventions with those students. This next year, we are moving forward of being more internal with our early warning systems, of working with our Dean of Students for Discipline, our attendance coach, and our department leads to see what we can do to support our students.
You mentioned a reduction of off-track students using a new centralized dashboard. Is that also in effect?
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Duran Blakely, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I know you mentioned the Manzano. Is that the NASOT framework? And it mentions 4 times per semester per teacher. How does that also work?
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Duran Blakely. So yes, we are going to be working with Marzano's resources. And so part of that is it's really evidence-based and support in terms of their instructional strategies and proven success across many, many schools. And so they're really going to help us with the intensive restructure and redesign of our school. And we will be having multiple times with them. In fact, we were just told that it would be 16 different times over the course of the school year that they're going to be within our school. But it's primarily we're focusing on the 4 quarters, and that's what you're referring to.
Yes. Okay. And also, how will you be using the MRI funding?
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Duran Blakely, our MRI funding will go towards, as Dr. Blea and Dr. Wine shared, 20,000 will be sent for our navigator, who will help us with our turnaround, and the rest of it will be spent using Marzano's resources.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, call for a vote.
Danella Estorga,
Yes.
Rebecca Betson,
Yes.
Joshua Martinez,
Yes.
Heather Benavides.
Yes.
Rakia Bowman,
Yes.
Courtney Jackson,
Yes.
Ronaldo Tomorito.
Yes, and thank you very much, gentlemen, for taking the time to sit and answer our questions. We're moving on to 5.16. I need approval of the School on Wheels high school application. As for a motion and a second.
I move to approve the School on Wheels high school application, LEA and CSI narratives. This is Board Member Benavides.
I'll second. This is Member Jackson.
All right, Board Member Benavides, motion to approve the application, and Board Member Jackson seconds. Is there any discussion? Yes, go ahead, Chanel.
I just have a comment, and I want to thank the team for School on Wheels in deciding that they want to do a restart instead of the restructuring, because it takes a lot of courage and insight of your own to understand where your limits are and what process would work better for you. So thank you for putting all of that plan together and understanding what the needs are of your school and your students, and I wish you all the luck.
And this is a satellite project, is that correct? With Freedom? Is that what you're talking about?
Madam President, members of the board,
Yes.
Superintendent Duran Blakely, yeah, that's correct. It'll be a satellite location, but maintain its unique identity.
Great. Any questions? Yes.
You kind of asked my question. Yeah.
Oh. Anybody else? No? I know that you mentioned in your application that 8-period schedule to increase credit acceleration. Can you explain that a little bit?
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Duran Blakey, excuse me. Yeah, we do it at Freedom, and we were able to more than double the number of credits our students were able to complete in 1 year by doing 8 credits. So our day is split up into shorter periods, but more of them, so that students have more opportunities for credit recovery. We've tried to build in lots of different pathways for success to increase access for all of our students.
And how has that helped? You said there has been an increase, but how, can you explain a little further?
Members of the board, or, excuse me, Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Duran Blakey, absolutely. So last year when I started, keep in mind, Freedom has been kind of our test pilot project. So I started at Freedom in School on Wheels last year in March. When we finished the year, about 320 classes had been completed at the end of last year. At the end of this year, with the credit recovery that we have increased, including our 8-period day, more than 700 classes were finished, or 700 credits were attained. So we've proven that more opportunities for classes and more opportunities for students to do credit recovery within the school day has been really effective in helping our graduation rates and students completing courses.
Have you done any data on retaining any of the information and the subject matter?
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Blakey. So I'm just going to make sure I'm understanding your question. Your question is about students maintaining their learning.
Yes, and only because when graduation occurs and they choose to go on, many of them do go back into redoing a number of those coursework.
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Duran Blakey, absolutely. We want to maintain that student achievement is in proportion to graduation increases, right? So we want to make sure our test scores, our WIDA scores, all the things are on the increase. We don't want so many credits to be attained at the cost of the education. So we are seeing increases across the board in testing in addition to credit achievement.
And can you explain a little on the All Eyes, your graduation system?
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Duran Blakey, we strongly feel that every student at our school deserves to have a champion. And what that looks like is our students select their champion. So their champion is the person that they want to be their go-to person. And that is the person that they have developed relationships. We monitor how often they have communication, but we're also tracking all the students. So we have individual supports with one person, but then all of our teachers are really keeping track of our graduates and making sure that everybody is on track to graduation.
Okay. We had the privilege of going to the graduation and sitting there and seeing the numerous graduates that came down, and thank you for that. It was really great to see those students. Also, how are you going to use the funding for?
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Blakey, we use them a couple different ways. One is we have a group from called Big Picture Learning coming in and helping us figure out how to do authentic assessment and competency-based education in new and better ways. So some of our funding will go to that. Some of our funding is going to go to credit a program called Grad Alliance to help us with a hybrid access. Many of our students struggle with attendance because of transportation barriers, as we've alluded to with many of the schools here tonight. And a lot of them work full-time, take care of family members, have responsibilities, making it very hard for them to be on campus a full day. So some of our money will go to allowing for a hybrid option. Some of our money also goes to giving our teachers the opportunity to do data walks. So we use quite a bit of our money for subs to come in, take care of our students, so our teachers can go and work on the early warning system, really do a deep dive on data, understand what's happening at kind of a granular level of our students, and really make sure that we're helping every kid.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? All right, we'll call for the vote.
Janelle Astorga?
Yes.
Rebecca Betson?
Yes.
Joshua Martinez?
Yes.
Benavides?
Yes.
Rekia Bowman?
Yes.
Courtney Jackson?
Yes.
Ronaldo Tomorito?
Yes, and thank you for answering those questions. And thank you for our panelists well, they're not really panelists, they can for sitting there and answering any other questions we may have had. All right, we're gonna move on to 5.17. And this is approval of our grant budget adjustments for 6 funds. One is Native American Language Program Grant, HB 2, regular 2023, 2025, 26, $546,660. Number 2, the Comprehensive Literacy State Development, NPD Literacy Development Grant. That amount is $267,320. Number 3, Hard to Staff, 2025-26, $12,500. Number 4, Spring Attendance Conference, 2025-2026, $525. Number 5, the IDAB, 2025-26, $344,729. And our final is number 6, the Preschool IDAB, 2025-2026, $9,447. Now, I need a motion and a second.
I move to approve the grant. What's the name of it again?
There's 6.
Okay. So I move to approve grant budget adjustments for 6 funds, including Native American Language Program, Comprehensive Literacy State Development Grant, Hard to Staff Grant, Spring Attendance Conference, IDAB, and Preschool IDAB. This is a Member Bowman.
I'll second this as Member Jackson.
Okay, Board Member Bowman, motion to approve grant budget adjustments, and Board Member Jackson, second. Any discussion?
I just have a comment.
Sure.
I see in the spring attendance conference section that there is some money in there for student travel. I would love to also see some stipends for those students who are attending that panel in the near future. Just throwing that out there for them, but everything looks great. Thank you all.
Anybody else?
I have a question. For the Native American Language Program grant, is that money is to purchase a portable, place it in To'Hajiilee, and then fund our 2 teachers? Is that correct? Is that what I'm reading?
Board Member Betson, the funding has been allocated fairly late. It is a competitive grant, and it is meant to support, based on the amended application, teacher salaries that are providing supplemental Indian education services directly to the children. Stipends for directly culturally related initiatives, and investments in long-term supplies for Indian education program assets.
So there's no, what did you call it?
Oh, so I'm looking just at the description, so I apologize. It doesn't include a portable. I'm just wondering, it says 2 teachers, 2 extended teacher assignments. And so I'm just wondering, because it's 546,000, and so I'm just, is this in addition to the teachers that they already are providing for, or, because I would have stayed a teacher if I was going to get paid that much.
Board Member Betson, I apologize. It is misleading because at the moment the grant was initially applied for, this is how the application read. Meanwhile, the application has been amended to support additional positions that are providing these services. All these grants are for the current fiscal year. Therefore, they're coming at the tail end and catching a lot of expenses that were already incurred. We are just allocating it based on the budget that becomes available at the end of the year.
Okay, that's great. And I see that it's to be used to extend the Dene language programming, which I think is great. How many teachers do we have teaching Danae in the district. That, or is Danae, am I saying it right? Yeah.
Chief Campos is here. She might, better idea.
Madam President, board members, Superintendent Duran Blakey. I'm going to give you approximate right now. It's about 5 or 6 that we have specifically for Dene language teachers. So Dene language and Zuni language are the specific languages right now that we have at APS on there. So.
And so students want to take it, then do they go to a specific location or is it offered online or how is that?
So Madam President, board members, Superintendent Duran Blakey, there's several options. We do have our Albuquerque High Hub where any of our high school students can come, similar to kind of the CEC, they'll get bused in. So that's kind of providing the equity piece. So for any high school student who's wanting to do the Dene language, they have that accessibility. We also have specific programs, for instance, like Ed Trust Volcanes. That's kind of more of our pre-K program where we're trying to incorporate language at the beginning of someone's school program. So they're starting at kindergarten, moving into 1st grade and 2nd grade and moving it that way. So that's similar to the same thing as the Zuni language. We offer both options. So again, so some of our older students who didn't have the opportunity to start language earlier in their school career, but we're also trying to really move and be proactive and trying to get it started much earlier. So they're learning it as when they're coming into school. And so not only are they learning the language earlier, but as we know, language is culture. So that is the component piece on there. And culture is absolutely part of our goal for initiatives in terms of identity and self-worth and all that. And then we do have some other programs, like for instance, we have MOUs with the Institute of American Arts, where some of our students can take language programs there. And we're working like with MOUs with like UNM Valencia campus as well on there. So we're trying to maximize our efforts, yes.
Great, thank you so much.
Are the Dene language programs also connected to the Navajo Chief Manuelito Scholarship? I don't know if you guys connect the language and the government and all those requirements for those students who choose to seek that scholarship opportunity. I don't know if any of these language classes may apply.
Yes, Madam President, board members, Superintendent Duran Blakey, absolutely. So yes, some of those language requirements are part of the requirements for the Chief Manuelito Scholarship. So that also is part of what we're doing in terms of our career awareness, is to make sure students are aware early enough so they can be able to take those courses to be able to then qualify for the Chief Manuelito Scholarship. So yes.
Okay. Thank you. All right, any other questions? No. I know you're waiting. Go ahead. Call for vote.
Janelle Estorga.
Yes.
Rebecca Betson.
Yes.
Joshua Martinez.
Yes.
Heather Benavides.
Yes.
Marquia Bowman.
Yes.
Courtney Jackson.
Yes.
Ronaldo Tomorito.
Yes, and thank you very much. And we'll go ahead and move on to 5.18. And this is approval of our May 2026 inter-function transfers for grant budget. We have our presenters, Nat Apodaca, Chief Financial Officer, and Mahalia. Did I say that right? Probably not. Marin, Senior Director of Grant Management. Do I have a motion and a second?
I move to approve the May 2026 interfunction transfers for grant budgets. This is Member Jackson.
And I'll second Member Benavides.
Okay, Board Member Jackson, motion to approve grant budget adjustments, and Board Member Benavides second. Any discussion? No. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and take a vote.
Janelle Estorga.
Yes.
Rebecca Betson.
Yes.
Joshua Martinez.
Yes.
Heather Benavides.
Yes.
Marquia Bowman.
Yes.
Courtney Jackson.
Yes.
Ronaldo Tomorito.
Yes, and the motion carries. Thank you, ladies. All right, now we get on to the most important report of the evening, our superintendent.
Good evening, President Tomarito, board members and members of the community. I did want to just start by saying I didn't want to take time during the school presentations, but we do use a rideshare service for McKinney-Vento students, so we can share more about that and how that works. And our students and staff are enjoying a well-deserved summer break. We remain actively engaged in preparing for a strong start to next school year. Across the district, thousands of students are participating in summer learning, enrichment, athletic, and extended learning opportunities to help keep them engaged, supported, and connected to their schools throughout the summer months. At the same time, our teams are hard at work preparing campuses for the new school year. Facilities are completing maintenance and improvement projects. Technology teams are preparing devices and systems, and departments across our organization are planning for a successful opening of schools in August. We also are actively hiring for positions across the district and continue to recruit talented individuals who are committed to serving our students and families. The current job openings are available on our APS website, and we encourage all interested candidates to apply and join Team APS. Enrollment for the upcoming school year is underway, including enrollment in our early childhood programs. We encourage our families to complete registration through ParentVue as soon as possible. Early registration for our schools helps them finalize staffing, their schedules, transportation routes, and student support so that we can begin the year ready to meet the needs of every student. We are especially excited to open our Duranis Early Childhood Center this August. This new center is a direct result of the district's right-sizing efforts and demonstrates how we are strategically repurposing facilities to better align with student and community needs. Rather than maintaining underutilized space, we are creating new opportunities for families by expanding access to high-quality early childhood education. The Duranis Early Childhood Center will open and will help more children enter kindergarten ready to learn while providing families with increased access to educational services in their community. The opening of Duranis reflects our broader commitment to ensuring that district facilities are being used in ways that maximize opportunities for students, strengthen neighborhood schools, and support the long-term sustainability of our district. It's an example of how we can thoughtfully adapt to changing enrollment patterns while continuing to invest in programs that have a meaningful impact on student outcomes. As part of our continued focus on Goal 4, we are strengthening student transition supports across the district. Last year, we expanded our middle school transition program through the implementation of WEB, or Where Everyone Belongs, ensuring that every incoming sixth grade student had opportunities to build connections, develop confidence, and successfully navigate the transition to middle school. And this year, we are building on that work by continuing WEB at all of our middle schools and expanding Link Crew programming to support all of our incoming ninth grade students. Through peer mentoring, orientation activities, and ongoing relationship building opportunities through the school year, these programs help students develop a sense of belonging, build positive connections with peers and staff, and establish a strong foundation for academic and social success. By creating this intentional transition experience for our students at key points in their educational journey, we are hoping to ensure that every student feels welcomed, supported, and connected as they enter their new school environment. And lastly, a major focus this summer is our continued implementation of our new Enterprise Resource Planning, or ERP system. This significant undertaking will modernize many of our business operations, including finance, human resources, payroll, and purchasing. And while much of this work occurs behind the scenes, it is essential to creating a more efficient and responsive organization that better supports our schools and classrooms. So thank you, everyone. We just want to let you know that we're busy working this summer and ready for August soon.
Hey, thank you very much. I just want to say, every movie I've been to, I've seen APS. I was at a thrift store on the radio. I heard APS. So I hear all of the nice little ads for our igniting and the spark. It's really great to hear that. And then I do a little cheer like that and everybody's wondering what I'm doing. I just want to talk a little bit about, because I love sharing my stories, and my little title here is Preparing for the Next Season. When I was growing up in Crown Point, I learned that success does not happen by accident. It comes from preparation. As I was in high school, and probably even my junior high, I got involved in athletics. And the other reason for that is a coach came to me because he noticed how tall I was, that you better be doing something instead of staying at home. So I was always thinking about the next season. My father was a runner, and every morning he set out the door at 6 a.m. Nothing stopped him, rain, cold, weather, or even snow were never barriers. The one thing was really funny about my dad, because I always tried to figure out when it was raining why he wore a plastic bag. And I go, Dad, you can wear a rain jacket. I just got to be quick because I have to throw it off when it get warm. And I go, oh, there's a reason for your reasoning. But he was very focused and he was very disciplined. But watching him taught me one of the most important lessons of my life: never become stagnant. As an athlete, I wanted to be ready before the season arrives. I wanted my body conditioned, my mind prepared, and my goals clearly in sight. Because by the time fall season came, you didn't want to be the last to run in. And I was always determined I was going to run that mile as quick as I could if it was the beginning mile or doing whatever we needed to do to be prepared. But I also had goals. Whether it was volleyball, basketball, or track, I understood that preparation was what allowed me to perform when it mattered most. As I became a junior and senior in high school, that dedication began to pay off. Honors and all-state recognition, Athlete of the Year awards, and school records were not achieved overnight. They were results of countless mornings, practices, and decisions to stay focused on my goals. But I'm going to tell you the one thing my dad did, even despite he knew how much I wanted to play ball, instead of buying me a basketball goal, he built two of them. He built a front one and he built a standing one in the back. And I was amazed at his diligence, not only to prepare me, but he was willing to take the time. And many times we forget on how parents are involved. And it may be the slightest and smallest thing they do, supporting students in whatever way. But it's that little recognition that they hear you and they notice you. So most importantly, sports opened doors. I realized that athletics could provide opportunities beyond my hometown, and it helped me pursue higher education through scholarships. As the oldest daughter in my family, I just lost it. As the oldest daughter in my family, there were many responsibilities and expectations placed upon me. Like many children, it was difficult to say no to your parents. Yet sports became my pathway forward. It was my talent and my passion and something no one could take away from me. So today I offer reflection on those lessons. Preparation is just not for athletes, it's for leaders, teachers, administrators, board members, and students. Success in any role requires us to think ahead, develop our skills, and to remain committed to growth. As we enter the summer months, I encourage each of us to ask ourselves, what are we preparing for? What do we want to accomplish in the coming year? What can we do today that will make us stronger tomorrow? I know those sound a little cliche, but whether we serve as board members, administrators, teachers, staff members, or students, summer offers us an opportunity to prepare for the next season. The work we do now can give us the advantage we need to become better at our craft, strengthen our talents, and ultimately better serve our students and community. My father's dedication to running taught me that preparation is not a one-time event. It is a way of life. The season ahead belongs to those who are willing to prepare for it. Rest, get your mind to where it's very clear in thought, and then come ready prepared. I think this is a great opportunity, and I know with board members, it's probably also a breath of fresh air for a moment to sit back and to reflect. But I also know that it also comes at a time to prepare. And just like as superintendent said, we do have a lot ahead of us. So take your time, rest up, and just become clear and attend to those things that matter. Thank you, everyone. And now we're gonna go into our executive session. So we're gonna go, yes.
Announce when the next board meeting will be.
Oh, just in case you guys don't want to miss it. July 1st, 2026 is our next board meeting. Bring your families, bring your friends. And make sure they know it's 6400 Uptown Boulevard Northeast. And if they can't attend, get your popcorn out, get your drinks, and watch it on YouTube. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, President.
You're welcome. Now, go into executive session, number 9. Our next item to consider is approval for the Board of Education to convene an executive session. As authorized by the Public Meeting Act, Section 10-15-1, H7, to discuss pending litigation in relation to the Albuquerque Journal. I ask for a motion and a second.
I move that we approve for the Board of Education to convene an executive session as authorized by the Public Meetings Act, Section 10-15-1, H7, to discuss pending litigation in relation to Albuquerque Journal versus APS. Board Member Benavides.
Second, Member Astorga.
Okay.
Janelle Astorga,
Yes.
Rebecca Betson,
Yes.
Joshua Martinez.
Yes.
Heather Benavides.
Yes.
Raikia Bowman,